Hello, everyone. I want to talk about the biggest obstacle that I have faced in my life, and I think it's the obstacle that most of us are facing. It's actually called the opponent. And I came to know the opponent thanks to the Kabbalah. It's a new course that I've joined, and I think it's kind of the glue of everything that I've learned in terms of so many spiritual concepts and also business concepts. So I wanted to talk about the opponent because what is the opponent? So if I give you the definition of what the Kabbalah is going to say, they say that the opponent is an oppositional force that we naturally gravitate towards that entices us to trade that limitless blessing of our soul for quick comfort. So there's a lot of things in that, right? Like we talk about the limitless possibilities that we have. So our consciousness basically is what dictates our reality. And most of the time, we are acting like we are limited. But really, if you think that you have this creator, this light inside of you that can create anything, then the opponent is there to make you believe that you're limited. And so let me just backtrack a little bit. I think what's important to know is that we are being guided by creator, right? Like there's something that happens and it was out of the universe. And if you're asking yourself, how was the creation possible? The creation was possible thanks to an idea. Think about your own creation. Like anytime that you created something in your life, it started from an idea, right? And so the creator, which I haven't met and most people haven't met or we're going to meet on the other side of our life, had this idea of creating the earth, creating all the animals, creating the human beings and all that. And now the question is, how do you create? Like, what do you need in order to create? And so if you're looking at some of the laws that we have in our universe, we create based on polarity, right? We need to have a contrast. We need to have darkness. We need to have light. We need to have hot and cold. We need to have all plethora of different emotions. There's a range, there's a spectrum of things that we need in order to create. If it was only stable, we wouldn't be able to create at all, right? So I say that because now think about this. If you have an opponent, you have to see the opponent as your friend because your opponent is there to let you overcome it so that you know what it is to create. You have to know what it is to create. And if you don't have any darkness, then there's no way you're going to create because you're not going to know what it is to overcome this darkness, all the opposition. And so let me just give you some example, concrete example of what the opponent might look like. If we're looking at the opponent for us could be fear of the unknown, the future versus the present moment, procrastination, self-doubt. It could be all the distractions that we have, social media, right? The worry, the anxiety, the doubts, the imposter syndrome, the limiting beliefs, the self narrative that's so negative towards us. We are our worst enemy, all of that, right? So the opponent is also your best spiritual teacher. Like that's your spiritual trainer. That's why sometimes we don't like it, right? It's like the physical fitness guy that's in the gym and it knows your greatness. It knows how good you are and it looks at you and it says, "Come on, do another one. You can do it." And you're cursing at it. You're like, "What are you doing? This is so tough. This is not fair." And so, but it's always there. This challenge is there as an opportunity. The spiritual guide, coach, trainer is there to give you that resistance so that you can overcome it and grow. This is the purpose of a goal. This is the purpose of our life. And so, if we're going to talk about business, for example, the purpose of any goal is not to achieve it. The purpose of any goal in business is to grow. Because imagine if you're just focusing on the outcome and that's all you do, what type of journey are you going to have? If you're like me, I spent all my life thinking about the outcome most of the time, and it made me miserable because I was just always chasing, as opposed to being committed in the outcome, forgetting about the outcome, but just being committed about the process to get to the outcome. That's what I meant, being committed to the process to get to the outcome, enjoying the journey. And by being committed in the process, then I grow, and chances are I will achieve my goal. So the biggest opponent, and actually, short story, I almost did not do this video. I was thinking about it. I wasn't sure if I was prepared. And the opponent was talking to me. Ah, come on, you can do it tomorrow. Bah, you didn't do it. You wanted to do it last week. Why would you give yourself some stress when it's 8:55 p.m. right now? You really want to do this? Really? And then I thought, like, do I let the opponent wins or do I win? And it's also the great concept that we must know. And there's a great quote that I want to share with you on my screen. And it's coming from Joseph Campbell. And it said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek." So knowing that this resistance that's just showing in my face, it holds my greatest potential. It holds my growth, and it's there as a pressure to kind of say, if you want to go to the next level of your growth, you're gonna have to overcome this resistance. I'm there for you. If I'm not giving you this resistance, you're not gonna go to the next level. It's like going to the gym and just doing one little rep of 1 pound. You're not gonna grow. So it's like, oh, you want to have great muscle? Okay, good. Like I'm just gonna speak to you, and that way I'm gonna give you so much resistance because after that, you're going to create something amazing. Your muscle is going to grow. You're going to grow in your life. You're going to create new relationships. You're going to create new business. You're going to have a better health, whatever it is. So this challenge being seen as an opportunity is now our greatest asset. So the biggest obstacle is our opponent. And at the same time, it's our best friend because that cave that we fear to enter holds the treasure. And there's a couple quotes that I'd like you to give you just before we're done with this thing. So it's a beautiful book, Think and Grow Rich. I'm sure you've seen that before, right? And it made me think about the opponent because there's two quotes that were quite important in the chapter. Let me just find it out. One is on persistence. And that's very interesting because they say people refuse to take chances in business because they fear the criticism, which may follow if they fail. The fear of criticism in such cases is stronger than the desire for success. It's stronger than the desire for success. And then there's another thing that said, resolve to throw off the influences of any unfortunate environment and to build your own life to order. Taking inventory of mental assets and liabilities, you will discover that your greatest weakness is lack of self-confidence. So we talked about lack of self-confidence because that's what the opponent is giving us sometimes, right? That's little inner negative. Ah, you're not good enough. And we have to beat this opponent. So how do we beat that? Well, we have to first off know that this is good for us. The opponent, the resistance is just there to help us grow. So if we can see that as a friend, then I think it makes it easier to grow and to beat the opponent because we just know that this is kind of mom and dad that loves us and wants us to swim. So we're being thrown in the water and it's dad and mom knows that we're going to be able to survive and it's like, you want to swim? You can. And don't worry, I'm here for you. I know you can swim. So I'm just going to throw you this little talk, this little self deprecation of yourself that you're thinking, but that's not true. It's not true. I just want you to be able to grow with that. And there's obviously other tricks to improve our confidence to beat the opponent. But I think at the basis, to know that every challenge is an opportunity, that your opponent is your spiritual guide to help you grow and become a better version of yourself is a beautiful step. And there's another concept that the Kabbalah says, and many people says it too. Actually, Einstein said the best question that we can ask ourselves is to ask, is the universe friendly, benevolent? If you know that life is for you, not against you, that's also another good way to know that, hey, I've got some challenges, I've got some opposition, and it's there for a good reason. I know that this is for me. Life is not happening to me, it's for me. And there's even a next step that's through me. That's having so much faith and confidence in the benevolence of the universe that you will continue no matter what. You will let it flow. You'll just say to the creator, to God, the universe, Show me the way. Just show me the way. I trust you. I have faith for you. Just show me the way. There's another thing I wanted to share with you from the Thinking into Results program. This is what I do, one of the programs that we do for founders and on business entrepreneurs. And there's an article that said that the common denominator of success, the secret of success of every person who has ever been successful lies in the fact that they formed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. So ask yourself, am I doing things that are helping my opponent to win, or am I doing things that helps me to win? Am I doing things that failures don't like to do, which could be calling, prospecting, making a phone call, having a crucial conversation with my partner because I know full well that I'm playing small. So overall, the opponent is your friend. It knows your greatness. It knows your potential. It knows where you're playing small. And when you hear that voice, you have two choices. I had the choice to say, I'm not going to do it because I haven't done it for a week. So, but then I knew that it was just my opponent to just give me so much resistance. And I thought, no, I'm going to win. I'm going to do this rep. I want to grow. I want to let myself being bigger than the smallest version of myself. So I hope it helps you because for me, it truly helped to understand that every time I had a challenge, every time that it was difficult, there was a good reason behind. It was always God, the creator, the universe, prepping me for the next phase of my growth. So actually, this is a great way of saying it. The opponent is not there to punish you. It's there to prepare you. So what's one action that you can take today to beat your opponent? And remember, that's your friend. He wants you to win, but he's going to be a hard trainer because he knows your greatness. And so, what action are you going to take to play a bigger life, to stop procrastinating, to take the action, to stop this inner narrative that's not even true because it's based on different perceptions of the past? So if you really want to create something new, you got to beat the opponent. If you really want to create a change in your life, you must change in such a way that people will not even recognize you, starting with you. Because if you keep doing the same thing right now, you will create the same predictable future. So if you don't want that predictable future that you know full well where it's going, and my guess is that it's probably not your full potential. You got to change that. You're going to think differently. You're going to act differently. You're going to have to feel differently. And you've been conditioned for a long time otherwise. So it's just prepping, just doing the reps, going to the gym, knowing that you must be different, that you must think different, you must feel different, and you must act differently. And it will create new results. Don't do what failures like to do. Do what's right for you, beat the opponent, and I promise you'll create miracles in your life.